Everyone, in this session, we are going to talk about the step function. So the question can be asked into the form, name a service which is used to visualize and orchestrate the sequence of tasks. Let's say if you have several tasks available and one by one, it needs to be followed into a particular sequence. Let's say there is a condition being available, then it needs to follow the sequence accordingly based on the condition accepted. So let's see which service is that. So the solution is step function. Step function is a serverless orchestration service for coordinating distributed application and microservices through visual workflows. So it's like a prompt flow for the utilization that is going to be utilized to see how we are going to achieve the task. It allows you to define states machine that sequence tasks, making it easy to build complex processes in a manageable and scalable way. So it is a particular flow that we are going to develop based on the requirement. So let's say if there is a state of the starting, this is a start state, and then we have a particular stage of the build. After that, build is passed, so we can have the condition passed yes or no. If it fails, so restart it again, or fails, process to the deploy. So this is a particular kind of scenario I'm giving for the step function. So what is its key feature? It helps in visualizing the workflow designer, graphical interface for building workflows with state, transition, and error handling. So in it is very much utilized into the use cases. Why so? Because it is integrated with different services, easily integrates with Lambda function, DynamoDB, S3, and more to connect with the managed tasks. Moreover, it is very simplified. As you can see, it's into the workflow scenario, so everyone can understand into the single go, and it is simplified in nature, which automate and orchestrate the task, reducing manual coding and simplifying application management. It is cost effective and scalable in nature, so you have to just pay as per the requirement you are doing. And it is enhanced resilience because of the built-in error handling and retry mechanism. So you can specify the number of retries it should be doing in order to achieve the task. It's very much utilized into the microservice architecture and built for the processor automation. There is only one negative aspect of it. This is that it is one of the costliest service into the entire AWS service. But it is very much easy to understand the things. Even anyone can follow it and very much utilize. Moving forward to the second part, so how is encryption done into the RDS side? So encryption is one of the key feature as data is the heart of the system. So when we are working into the system at the production level, so we want to make sure the data is always secure from the hackers, from any unauthorized access. So in that situation, we want the data to be always into the secure form. Hence, in order to make it secure, we encrypt it. So there are two ways in which we can encrypt that. So this question is generally asked when we want to understand the databases at the greater level. So the first part is the encryption at rest. So when the data is from the application, it's put down into the database. So it needs to be at the encrypted form. So that's why it is at the rest. So for achieving this, we are using AWS KMS for the feature. So what does it does? It's a unique encryption keys generated by KMS, and this is used to encrypt the database. And it is managed by AWS, providing a secure, centralized way to manage the encryption keys. It helps in protecting the sensitive data from the unauthorized access. So, before storing the data into the databases, it will be converted into the encrypted form. So, data will be encrypted, then saved into the DBs. This is the first way. The second way is encryption in transit. So, when the data is in moving stage. So, in the moving stage, the data also needs to be protected, and how it is achieved using SSLL and TLS. So, in order to make sure the data is safe into the secure into the moving stage from the database client and the database instance. So by enabling SSL and TLS, we are going to transmit the client application data and the database into the encrypted form, preventing interceptions and eavesdrop. So it is one of the key way of securing transmitted over the internet or the network, protecting from the potential security threats. So when you are transmitting the data from application, so when it is in the moving stage data, So it needs to be protected using SLL and the TLS. So we got two ways for the first one is at rest, the second is at transit. Rest using TMS and transit using SSL or TLS. Hi everyone, let's understand few more concepts. The question is about elastic cache. So what are the different kinds of elastic caches that are supported by AWS? Elastic cache or in-memory databases are generally used for the cache system for the working. So when we are working into the system, we want that there is not much load on the databases. So in order to avoid and give faster performance from the databases itself, we involve one more entity which is called cache system or elastic cache. So let's understand what is elastic cache. It's a fully managed in-memory caching services. So it's an in-memory database that helps in making sure you are achieving the things. Let's say this is a user or application and they're trying to access the databases. In order to avoid heavy loads on the databases, and if there is a normal or the common read that is taking place, we involve an identity called cache system. So that's how the process goes on. If some data is available in the cache, it is gonna take from the cache itself and return to the user. It gives faster performance for the use case. Now, it helps us to deploy, operate, and scale in-memory data stores in the cloud, enabling them to improve the performance, the scalability of your application by accessing or caching the frequently accessed data. So all the frequently accessed data are put down into the cache system. So key features are it's in memory, fully managed, highly scalable and available, scale, and reduce cost and enhance performance. So if something is getting involved into the between process, so it is going to give better performance. So better performance, reduce time and workload, minimum latency, and reduce cost. So these are the basic working of the system, and it does help in high availability of the nature. So these are the basic working of the elastic cache. Hi everyone, in this session we are going to talk about the guard duty. So consider guard duty as a watchman that is going to see is there any vulnerability available in your data and how you can mitigate it. So the question can be asked into the form how we can protect ourselves from the suspicious activity or unusual API calls. So in this, the guard duty or the watchman is going to help you out. So it is like a threat detection service that provides you continuous monitoring of AWS accounts workloads and data to identify malicious activity and potential security threat. Like you have been working, and based on that, the usual pattern is always drawn out. And if there is any unusual activity and there is a huge excess of the data, in that scenario, guard duty is going to play a role. So it's also a machine learning, anomaly detection, and intelligence tool from AWS and third-party sources to detect and report on threats. Its main key feature is to anomaly detection. So continuously analyzes your CloudTrail logs. So this is the thing I've been saying. If there is unusual activity, VPC flow logs, DNS logs for the unusual activity, and threat intelligence. So leverages the threat intelligence feeds from AWS and third-party sources for updated threat detection. Moreover, it has a centralized alert for the things to deliver findings with the severity mark. Let's say this is a critical, this is a normal, this is below average, so accordingly it is available, making it easy to prioritize and respond to the security threats. Major use case is for the account compromise detection. So let's say if there is unusual call activity or API call activity or suspicious account activity that's gonna be compromising your account. So in order to avoid that or mitigate that, we can utilize the guard duty. Moreover, malware detections and threat detection for the workload. So alert on the instances for malware detected in S3 and other resources. And moreover, it is going to monitor and protect application from potential threats in real time as it continuously monitors your CloudTrail logs, VPC logs, and DNS logs.